Welcome and to today's Sabassembler. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to hit the like button and definitely don't forget to hit the subscribe button, since we're all trying to still reach the 1000 subscribers. And I just want to say thank you to all my fellow Sabassemblers and fellow collectors for your support. I really appreciate that, and we're on a good way for 1000 subscribers. So please definitely don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And as you probably know, today we have the XM Studios Scorpion statue, and this is a statue I've had for a long time in my storage, and since I have new space for my new Moji cases for more unboxings, I finally have the chance to unbox the statue. I've been waiting for a long time to unbox this, since I want to complete my Spiderman villain line from XM Studios, and this was the first I wanted to unbox. And I still have the XM Doc Ock and XM Green Goblin statue to unbox, and both will be unboxed in the near future. And if you have any preference which one you want to see unboxed first, please leave a comment, leave your decision in the comments, Doc Ock or Green Goblin, and I'll be unboxing that one first. Okay, so this statue comes in a relatively small box, but for its size it's actually quite a heavy box. So let's do less talking and more unboxing, and let's just see what's inside. Here we have the Scorpion art print, and it's a pretty dark art print, but it looks pretty nice of the modern style Scorpion. And let's just put this one aside. Okay, this statue comes in this nice sturdy XM black hardcover box. On the side, I don't know if you can see, you have the Spiderman logo. Let's open it up. I have the feeling, since this is an older statue, you can feel this is a more sturdy kind of box. I think the quality over time has kind of changed. The boxes have become thinner, but here, since this is an older statue, you can really feel that this one's more solid than the new ones. So on the inside, you usually should find a short description of the character right here and its background. So let's get all the pieces out, and I'll see you then on the assembly.
ለዘመናት ባዶ የነበረው ልቤ ዛሬን ሙት ተፈታ ውበት አሸነፈው በጉራጌው አንቺ የመስቀለት ማታ የሳለታ 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 ስቴከረታ የሳለታ አይ ውበቷ የሳለታ አቤት አቤት የሳለታ 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 ስቴከረታ የሳለታ የሳለታ አቤት አቤት አላደኩኝ በሷ መሬት ፈሶ ቀረ አይኔ ሲያያት ትፈራዋ መልኳን ነው ደሳ ለካ እንዲህ ነው ፍቅር እንደ ዋሳ እውነተኛው ፍቅር አይመርጥም ቋንቋ ዘር ሱላ ባንቺ ሕይወቴ ነይልኝ ግቢ ቤቴ ነይ ግቢ ቤቴ ነይ ግቢ ቤቴ ለዘመናት ባዶ የነበረው ልቤ ዛሬን ሙት ተፈታ ውበት አሸነፈው በጉራጌዋ ልጅ የመስገነት ማታ የሳለታ 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 የተረታ የሳለታ አዩ በቷ የሳለታ ሀበታ የሳለታ 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 የተረታ የሳለታ የሳለታ አበታ
Okay, welcome back. As you've seen, we've unboxed all the pieces and the base, and comes with not too many pieces, but also not too little pieces. And you can see we have a relatively small but base with a small footprint, but which is a little bit tall, and it looks, I mean, the paint job is done pretty well and feels very solid and looks pretty good, I think. And unfortunately, I've realized the statue doesn't come with an assembly handbook as the older statues did. I was hoping it still had that, but this must be one of the first statues where XM Studios started to move to another time where they started to leave away the handbooks, and now they're starting with the QR codes, and that time they just had a PDF file which you can upload online on their website. So I had to do that on my phone, and now we know how to put this statue together. So the first piece, I believe, would be the largest piece of these metal fence pieces, which I believe go in right at the back. You have all these smaller slots. It goes in with two very small. They go in, and I believe the horizontal bar is towards the statue, and you just have to put it in that way. So you start from the right all the way to the left with the larger piece first, and you just have to figure out where the slots are for the small pegs, and at the same time you have to put in all the other smaller fence pieces and just put these in until it looks like that. I don't know, struggling a little bit, but I recommend you start with the peg on the very right, on the very outside first, and then start putting in the rest, and they'll just go in by themselves. So next would be the middle size fence, which just goes in also with two smaller pegs right next to it, and let's just figure how these go in. And this also went in pretty nicely. Next would be I believe the smallest fence piece. Where did that one disappear? Here we have it. And the smallest one goes right next. Well, it's pretty obvious. You start with large, middle, small, and just move yourself to the outside until you have this large fence on the backside broken in the middle in two parts, and this already gives the statue some much more presence and makes it look much larger. So next, I believe, would be Scorpion himself, and this bad boy has two pegs and one smaller one on each, one peg and one peg with a key, and I believe the smaller peg with the right leg goes up right here on the top. You have a small slot and one key peg right here in the middle, and just have to fit those in parallel to each other, and I already went in too far, I believe. Okay. And yeah, we did it. And the statue's already starting to get pretty big. I mean, as a lot of you might know, this is actually a statue which was pretty popular, or is pretty popular now, and became pretty rare to get. I wasn't really aware of that, and now since I heard that, I'm really happy I actually purchased the statue that time. And next we have this small damage. I mean, it's sculpted the way to look damaged, but it's a street light, and which actually does light up as a small switch at the bottom and turns on off, and that one just goes in right here at the bottom like that. Beautiful. So let's start with, I mean, this statue comes with two switch outs. You have the classical look and a more modern or technical look, the one you've seen on the art print. And let's start with the classical look. And I believe first we should start with with the needle, or with the tail here. And this tail is huge, guys, and it's got some decent weight to it too, and it's just gigantic, and it goes in with a relatively small peg and key, which you just fit in right on his back, and it should go in this way, I believe, and it fits in. Wow, that went in pretty easy, much easier than I thought. Wow, this statue has become really tall just now. Wow, I didn't expect. I heard the statue was tall, but I didn't think it would get this tall. Okay, here we have the scorpion, and wow, this is really tall. I mean, phew. So next, let's start with the two arms, and you can tell the difference between the classical look arms and the left and the more modern ones. The modern ones have a kind of more mechanical look to it, and the other ones just have a kind of leather kind of design on them. So let's start with the right hand first. I believe that one should go in here, and maybe I might have made a mistake. You should put in the arm first before you actually put in the whole body. Put the right hand in and then put in the whole main body, because it does look like as if with the right arm he's kind of leaning or holding the base or the ground. And now we can put back in his tail. Okay, and then the left arm, which goes in right there, and last but not least, the classical portrait with just the, I mean, it's supposed to look like fabric, but with a fabric kind of sculpt, and the detail on this portrait is amazing. Like the mouth, you can see all the gum and all those different shadings. Wow, and the eyes, and the sculpt of this fabric on it is just amazing. So much detail. We'll have more to that later on. And let's just add the portrait. And next we have these two small armor pieces, which are coated at the bottom with R1, which is probably for the thighs here. I don't know, for the thighs. And you just kind of fit those in with a magnet, and those go right in. And next one for the L1, and those just disappear right here. I mean, these are for in case you're gonna change it to the other option where he has another switch out for the for the armor. And I believe we're done for the first option of the Scorpion from XM Studios, and I can say, wow. Now I can understand why people really like the statue, honestly. Because on the pictures, honestly, I wasn't like too excited about it. I wasn't such a big fan of the character either, but when I see the statue in person now, I can understand why people really like this statue. And it's also because I believe it has a low edition size, and I believe the edition size of this statue is, it's around 300 pieces, I believe. And I'll check again, just one moment. Yeah, I was right. The edition size of this statue is just 300 pieces, and that's for, especially for XM Studios, that's a really low edition size. And I can understand why its prices for, I mean, aftermarket prices for this statue have been going really up. And so we've assembled the statue. So I mean, I can say the assembly of the statue is pretty easy. I mean, even though it looks like so big, it's actually pretty easy to assemble, and I'm positively surprised. And wow, it just looks amazing. And I'm sure it's going to be great, another piece for my Spiderman villain or Sinister 6 collection. So I'll take a few moments and look at the details of this statue and get back to you for the review. Okay, welcome back. I've assembled the Scorpion and I've had a few moments to look at it, and I can say I'm generally very happy with this statue. There are some small things and I was not so happy about, but generally I'm very happy with this statue. So let's start with, I mean, the concept. I mean, the concept of the statue is just obvious. I mean, immediately you can tell this is the Scorpion, and they really managed to get the character and a really nice dynamic pose. I mean, this huge tail, I mean, and that just, that gives it so much more presence and makes the statue look also so dynamic. I mean, it just looks like it's just gonna attack Spider-Man or you even, because it looks just at you, and it looks beautiful. I'm very happy with it. And there's so many other small details about the statue. So let's start with the base. The base, actually, as I said before, it has a pretty small footprint for such a tall statue, but with all these broken fences in the back and this street light, it does give him more presence, and also kind of moves outwards as it goes up. And the details on the base, you have this huge rock looking base, like as if it's on some kind of hill that just broke or something like that, or next to a house or whatever. It's hard to tell, but it still looks really great. And maybe the paint job, or you have some metal parts in the middle sculpted in on the sides too. And there's so many other details and different, you can tell like which parts of the base were the pavement, which are flat, and then you have the broken parts of the ground which are more rough, and you can really see those differences. And I think what they might have been able to improve are maybe the shadings and these different I don't know, should I say that? They have, as I said, always, XM still has this problem that makes the stone look kind of glossy. And I mean, as I can say, like, this is an older statue, and over the time XM has definitely improved its paint job, and I'm very happy about that. But here, I mean, I think XM did a fairly good job, and just under the Scorpion you have this, is it a pillar or from some with a kind of brown metallic look, or as if it's rusted, whatever, and it looks just great, and it's done very well. Beautiful paint job, and even the colors, the different shadings on this pillar or piece of building It's hard to tell what it is, but look great. I'm very happy about those, and it looks very well. And I think something great they've done is the way they did these metal fences on the back. I mean, you can see the weathering and the different textures of the metal, and you can see where they're broken, and you can see all the small screws, even the weathering of these screws you can see in the front. They've been done very well. You can see that the metal of these fences has started to rust and looks pretty great. And next, this street light. I think this is one of my favorite parts of this statue. You can see how it's broken and it's standing on its own kind of marble base or different kind of stone. It really sticks out because of the lighter kind of beige kind of color. And when you go closer to the light, you can see that the glass was smashed, and you can see that it's in the middle of some battle, and the way they did the smash of the glasses is just amazing. I mean, I'm not sure whether it's actually glass or some kind of acrylic glass, but it looks very realistic. And the different weathering, I mean, the dirt that went inside, and well, thumbs up on that for XM Studios. I'll give you some close-ups on that. And then you have the different textures on the top of the street light, and wow, those look great too. And then let's come to Scorpion himself. I mean, just the pose of Scorpion, I said before, is amazing. It's really dynamic, and it's so aggressive, and it really displays the character of the Scorpion, and the look on his face is just amazing. I mean, this is the way you see it now is actually the classical look without the mechanical parts. You can see some mechanical parts like on his shins and on his leg, on his feet. It already has some modern touch to it, but on the rest of his body and on his chest, you just have this kind of dark green as you see in the comics, and with this fabric sculpt on his head and on his chest, and which just continues on down on his legs on the sides. And the sculpt of this part it really makes it look like real fabric, and you can see all these tiny stitches. They were sculpted in, and with great success from XM Studios. And then when you see the face, I mean, the face is just also has this fabric continuing on. And as I said before, like the portrait of Scorpion is just phenomenal. I mean, especially the mouth, you can really see the gum and the teeth, that the way it really looks like a real person's mouth, and a lot of detail in that, and very impressed by that. And the eyes, and even when you look inside the eyes, you can really see the veins, or the capillaries in his eyes, like they become red and looks like they're just about to pop, and it looks so angry, such a vicious look on his face. And then only problem I think is there's a slight seam line on his neck, and I think the color of his head and the body, that green, is there's a little difference. I think the mask is a little lighter than the body. That's kind of the feeling I get. But it's not a big deal, it's just something I realized. And some other bad sides, I think there's some seam lines on the back where you stick in the fences, but you're never gonna see that, honestly. I mean, it's just a tiny thing, but I just wanted to mention those. But as I said, you're never gonna see it, but whatever. And so next, let's go to his tail, and the tail is just huge, as you can see. I mean, it just goes up, and it's got so much weight to it. It's a really solidly sculpted piece, and wow, I mean the size of the needle here is just, I mean it's taller than even my pinky. I mean it's just huge. It's almost as long as my as my middle finger, and it's just huge. And even the classical look tail has this mechanical look to it, and in the middle you have these kind of fence-like pieces, and where you can see all the joints of the tail, and they just look great. I mean, even the needle, honestly, when you touch it, it's just really sharp. I mean, you wouldn't want to stick anything against it, but you could actually injure yourself with that. And everything sits very solid, and the different shadings on the other parts of his body, and like if you see on his abs, you can see also a different shading and different kind of mechanical look. I mean, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's got a lot of texture, as if it was damaged. That's the feel I get, but it looks great though. And all that I said before, you have all these different stitches on the sides, on the side of his armor, his bodysuit. All those were sculpted in. I mean, a lot of detail on this statue. It looks great. So, I mean, this is the classical look, and as I said, there is one more option, which is the kind of more mechanical and modern look, and let's switch that out. Okay, here we're back with the more modern look Scorpion. As I said, I mean, the assembly process for the modern look Scorpion is pretty much the same, only you just use the different hands and you use the mechanical tail and the portrait, of course. And one extra thing are these small leg armor pieces. You take out these smaller ones and instead you replace them by these larger ones, and you just fit them in where the other ones went in before, on the right side, and here on the left side they just go in with magnets, and they just fit in easily that way. And then you have one last one, but not least, you have this huge armor piece, I mean chest armor piece, and you just fit that in where the chest goes, and you have it's got like magnets inside it, and it just stays there. And I believe that was it for the complete modern or mechanical version of the Scorpion. So you have those two versions of Spider-Man's Scorpion, and honestly, I'm usually a fan of the classical looks of characters, but in this case, I really love this modern look of Scorpion. I think it just looks much better than the classical look, and I really love it, and I think it looks great. I think I can understand why XM used this look for their art print and not the classical look. It just looks great. I mean, it just looks so much more mechanical, and even the eyes he has here, and wow. And I mean, let's review this part. And I mean, the only differences are these armor pieces added, and you can see that these armor pieces have so many different layers of some metal armor, like mechanical armor pieces that move, and they have this slightly glossy finish, and so many different shadings of dark and lighter and medium dark greens, and just makes him look so mechanical. And when you look at his portrait, I mean, you have again this, you only see his mouth and you don't see the eyes anymore, and the mouth, I mean the gum and even the skin of his nose, and they just look so, I mean it's just done with so much detail, it just looks phenomenal. And the eyes have this yellow kind of beehive look design on it, and they just look great. And I mean around his whole head he has this some kind of mechanical helmet mask, and with all the different joints, so much kind of mechanical look and things going on all around. Also again with this dark and lighter green shadings on it. Wow. And you have also these small screws on the sides you can see, which have been sculpted in, and wow. And you can even see some of the weatherings and that XM was thinking about. Great job. And that same design just goes on his hands and on the right and left side. And then we go on to his tail. I mean, the tail again, I mean it's just as big, maybe even bigger, and this one has a more kind of square kind of shape and look on it. It's more mechanical and it just looks great. I mean, honestly, I personally kind of prefer the other tail, even though it looks mechanical. I mean, theoretically you could combine both, I mean, with each other, but I don't think that was the idea. I mean, let's just try it out. The body wise and the portrait, honestly I prefer the modern one, but when it comes to the tail, I kind of like the one meant for the classical look. I mean, I guess you could display it this way, and honestly, I don't think anyone would kind of realize that it's not meant to be for this one. There shouldn't be any problem, but that's just my own opinion. But that's just something kind of I just observed now whilst talking to you and putting the thing together. And honestly, I think the tail for the mechanic, it's still solid, but I have the feeling it's lighter than the other one. This one seems heavier to me. Let's just put the modern tail, mechanical tail, modern tail back on, and let's talk about the size of the statue. As I said, it's a very tall statue, but not with a huge footprint. So in height, this statue is 70 centimeters, pretty much exact, at its highest point, which is somewhere around here. And in depth, when is kind of the front of his tail all the way to, I think, the back of this fence, I believe, and that should be around 48 centimeters, 47 centimeters, something around that. I believe that's the depth of the statue. Maybe 48, 49 to be on the safe side. And in width, should be from fence to fence of the base. That's the widest. I think that's the widest part of this statue. And that's 45 max centimeters width. And said, this statue doesn't have a huge base, but it's pretty tall, and it's also got some decent weight to it, and it's not too heavy, but it's okay. And wow, and I can only say this is going to be great another piece for my XM Sinister 6 collection, and I'm very happy with it, and I'm very sure I'll probably be using this version of the Scorpion rather than the classical look for a change, and I'm kind of surprised, but positively surprised. Okay, so I hope you liked today's show, and I hope this was helpful for you, even though this is an older statue. But all I can say is don't forget to hit the like button, and definitely don't forget to hit the subscribe button, not to miss out on more statues coming up in the near future. And I just want to repeat again, I still have the XM Studios Doc Ock and Green Goblin coming out, and just let me know which one you want to see first, the Doc Ock or the Green Goblin. Just leave a comment for that in the comments, and just leave your decision for that and let me know, and I'll be unboxing that one first. Okay, so God bless you, God bless our statues, and have a nice day.
በዋዜማው በደመራው ተሰብስቦ ሲጨፍር ሰው ሳይደነግጥ ልቤ ሳይፈራ ገባው መሃል በሷ ጭፈራ እውነተኛው ፍቅር አይለይም ቋንቋ ዘር ስላባንቺ ሕይወቴ البين